Earth, 2086. Alec Mason is born, and spends most of his early life traveling across the planet, often getting into trouble with his brother, Daniel Mason. By 2109, Alec became employed by the Amrukuo Corporation, working as a demolition specialist. Eventually, whilst working on a project, his brother Daniel got him involved with a labor rights movement, leading to him becoming wanted after a mass riot. Alec was arrested, and spent 18 months in prison for his actions. He would hold some level of animosity towards his brother, for years after the incident. In early 2120, at the request of his brother, Alec filed for emigration to Mars. 5 years later, Alec was finally granted a work visa on the Martian colony, and immediately headed to Mars. Shortly after arriving, Alec met up with his brother Daniel, who quickly explained that the occupying Earth Defense Force were actually butchers, who were enslaving the miners, just another corrupt company like Ultor and a brutal government like the Commonwealth. Daniel soon introduced Alec to the new Red Faction, a group of freedom fighters who were trying to overthrow the EDF, who were holding a tight grip over Mars and its inhabitants. Alec was disturbed by this, claiming that he didn't want to be associated with a terrorist organization. After all, he came to Mars for a new start, and a new life. Later that day, Daniel took Alec to an abandoned Ultor laboratory, which was scheduled to be demolished by their contract company. This gave Alec some practice in handling explosives again, and he quickly destroyed the derelict facility. However, the brothers were soon spotted by an EDF gunship, and Daniel was killed after attempting to flee, whilst Alec tripped and fell, hitting his head on a metal prong, knocking him unconscious. Alec eventually trekked back to Daniel's home, where he found the EDF rummaging through his belongings. The EDF officer in command announced that Alec was to be shot, for possessing illegal Red Faction tools, a sledgehammer, and remote mines, even though these were legal items given to him. Before the EDF had the chance to execute Alec, they were quickly ambushed by Red Faction guerrillas, who shot and killed all of the EDF soldiers, whilst Alec retrieved his sledgehammer and killed the officer in charge. Alec was quickly warned by the Red Faction commander, Hugo Davies, that the EDF would now hunt him down until he was dead, and whether he liked it or not, he was now a member of the Red Faction. The liberation of Mars had begun. Alec soon assisted the Red Faction, by liberating several EDF-controlled areas, including the Parker and Dust sectors. During this time, a large number of EDF soldiers and infrastructure are destroyed, putting strain on the remaining EDF forces within the region. Alec was later tasked with monitoring surveillance of the Marauders, a mysterious warrior tribe, who were rumored to be the remains of the fallen Ultor Corporation, and crazed by the radiation leaking out of the irradiated zone. Whilst the Red Faction was setting up a new base of operations in the Badlands, a cache of weapons was stolen by the Marauders. Alec was ordered to follow the takers to their base, and retrieve the stolen weapons. Alec soon discovered that the Marauder base was part of the old Ultor mining complex, which was abandoned decades before, during the first Red Faction uprising. Alec also began to hear strange voices, one being of the fallen Ultor scientist, Axel Capek. He soon found an old Ultor Nano device, believed to be the work of Capek. The EDF soon began assaulting the position, and Alec quickly fled the lab with the device, avoiding both the EDF and Marauder forces. After escaping the EDF, Alec met up with Samania in the Badlands, and gave her the Nano device, before returning back to a safe house with the rest of the group. Meanwhile, in the EDF Central Command, General Roth was contacted by Admiral Kobel, head of the EDF fleet, after he discovered that the Nano forge had been stolen. Concerned about how powerful the Nano device was in the hands of terrorists, the Admiral informed General Roth that his capital ship, the Hydra, would be heading to Mars to destroy the Red Faction, and recover the Nano forge. After Alec assisted the Red Faction in liberating the other sectors, Samania, along with Alec, headed deep into the Badlands, seeking refuge and assistance from the Marauders. Samania and Alec soon met Vasha, the sister of Samania, and leader of the Marauders. They quickly allied themselves with the Red Faction, and helped formulate a plan to stop the EDF Hydra, the massive warship that would wipe out all life on the planet. With the EDF starting to falter, the Red Faction launched an attack on the Central Command. Alec infiltrated the base, whilst a combined force of guerrillas and Marauders attacked the areas on the outside. After laying explosive charges throughout the facility, Alec quickly escaped and detonated the charges, turning the entire military complex into a burning pile of rubble. The Red Faction soon launched a final attack against the EDF, leading to a large skirmish on the icy Mount Vogel. The Marauders were soon overrun, and the accelerator was captured by the EDF. Vasha, the leader of the Marauders, was killed, and many of her followers were wiped out. Alec quickly stormed the mountain in a modified EDF missile tank, and quickly managed to kill General Roth, leader of the EDF ground forces. Alec soon got the accelerator working again, and immediately fired the cannon at the incoming EDF Hydra, which was destroyed and vaporized, killing Admiral Kobel and ending the war. As the sun set across Mars, crowds of civilians began cheering for Samania, and Alec, as he walked towards the crowd, and holding his sledgehammer high into the air, proclaiming victory for the Red faction, himself, and the people of Mars.